Good morning. Now for your daily horoscope for Thursday, July 31st, 2025. Aries. Flexibility is an important part of today, Aries. Take a relaxed, laid-back approach. Trying to ram your ideas through isn't the best tactic. Having tunnel vision will restrict you in many ways. Keep an open mind and be receptive to others' ideas and opinions. You have a lot of power readily available. It would be a shame to waste it by lacking the breadth of vision to see all your options. Taurus. Things coming at you from all sides are forcing you to make a move, Taurus. Don't be pressured into something you don't want to do. A nervous restlessness may urge you to act. Don't let other people boss you around. Secure your position and be strong. Try not to be tempted into situations that you are going to be bad for you. Gemini. Lock into the practical, grounding force of the day that is not only realistic but also flexible. Attend to details and organize yourself, Gemini. Be aware that you may need to alter your course a bit in order to fit the group dynamic. Try to work with those around you to achieve a common goal. Initiating the help of others is easier than you think as long as you stay focused and motivated. Cancer. Today is one of those days in which prosperity is much closer than you think, Cancer. You may know what you seek, but it's up to you to take the first step toward going after it. You're probably looking for solid answers to your deep, probing questions. Don't let your inquisitive mind rest until you find answers that ring true for you. Leo. Indecision may leave you helpless at a crossroads today, Leo. Others may just be as undecided regarding which way to go. At the same time, you may feel pressured to take immediate action and you're tired of waiting for others to make the first move. Find the answers in simple solutions. There's more than one correct way. Your choice is always the right one if you believe it to be so. Virgo. Latch on to the expansiveness that comes when you connect with others in a social arena, Virgo. Communication is a key aspect of the day. If you go with the flow, you will land exactly where you need to be. Take the adventurous route and skip around from one thing to another. There's no need to pin yourself down to one route or way of doing things. Libra. Connect with the stable, grounding energy of the day, Libra. But beware that tension may come in the form of fast talk and misinformation. People could be fickle and frantic. Wait for the dust to settle before you pick a road to travel. Impulsive decisions may lead you down paths that aren't the best choice for you now. Relax and try not to think about it too much. Scorpio. Any expansive feeling you experience may be rained on today. You could get the feeling that you've lost touch with reality. Make sure you connect with real life, Scorpio, and do a bit of planning to balance your whimsical side. Things that you haven't accounted for might crop up to serve as a reminder that you need to deal with real life. Sagittarius. Walk to the beat of your own drum, Sagittarius. If you try to latch on to the smooth-talking, fast-paced information of the day, your voice could get lost in the crowd. But if you plant your feet firmly and try to plan, you might deprive yourself of spontaneous events that prove the most fulfilling. Chart your own course and don't be afraid if no one else follows along. Capricorn. Connect with the fellow sitting next to you or perhaps the woman behind you in the line at the store. He or she could share a piece of wisdom that changes your life forever. Be aware that you can also be that person who changes someone else's life with a single thought or slice of wisdom that you've picked up in your travels. Communication is the key to expanding your world in many ways. Aquarius. Your self-esteem may be challenged today by a fast talker or unpleasant situation, Aquarius. Don't accept things at first glance. There's a much deeper meaning brewing below the surface, and you'd be foolish not to recognize that. Stick to your guns and stay grounded. Newfangled devices and big promises may not be all they're advertised to be. Pisces. Jump on board the fast train and see how far it takes you, Pisces. You'll be surprised at how far you can go with minimal effort. Your grace and polite social mannerisms will help you navigate quickly to where you need to be. You have the wind at your back today. Make the most of this energy by aiming for the top and not resting until you get there. This has been your daily horoscope for Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. Good morning. Beautiful Monday morning to you, St. Lucia DBS family. We're back here again. This is DBS this morning. Hi. I hope you just did some amazing Zumba or yoga with Trevor Lawrence, right? You have your coffee, your breakfast in front of you. You're ready to go, right? I'm ready to go too, to give you this spectacular show ahead of you. But before we do that, let's see what the news desk has to say. We'll be right back.
Good morning. Time now for the news. With me, Timothy Polio. By the way, happy Monday to you. Two of St. Lucia's most troubling cases have taken a disturbing turn. The Royal St. Lucia Police Force confirmed Thursday that key pieces of evidence have vanished in the investigations into the murder of Kimberly De Leon and the unlawful death of Shaka Khan Daniel, both high-profile cases that have haunted the nation for years.
We had to follow up with the exhibit room and also the Special Service Unit AMRI. And as we speak today, we are not in a position to have secured this exhibit.
Meanwhile, the Director of Public Prosecutions has ruled out charges in 3 or 4 files detailing allegations of sexual misconduct against a senior police officer, citing insufficient evidence. In other news, in Grenada, history was rewritten last week, not with chains and sorrow, but with contracts and shared dreams. At the 4th Afro-Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum, leaders from Africa and the Caribbean gathered to ignite what many are calling a new middle passage, this time one of prosperity.
Together, we are not merely convening a forum, we are shaping a future. This year's theme, Resilience and Transformation, Enhancing Africa-Caribbean Economic Cooperation in an Era of Global Uncertainty, is both a call to action and a powerful reimagining of our shared history. It invites us to transform the painful legacy of the transatlantic slave trade into a new corridor of opportunity.
From calls for an Afro-Caribbean free trade agreement to a $3 billion credit line from Afrex Imbank, the forum delivered big on promises of unity and investment. The Royal St. Lucia Police Force has launched a full criminal investigation into the suspicious death of Police K9 642 Tyson, with top officials confirming that lab tests are pending to determine the exact cause and that the fallen K9 officer will be honored with an official funeral.
As we speak, necropsy has been performed on Tyson. We do have initial reports from the veterinary pathologist who did that particular procedure. What we've done is to have taken samples from Tyson. These samples are with our forensic lab as we speak.
As soon as these samples are diagnosed, the defraider says the police will announce the cause of Tyson's death. The police also say that Tyson will receive an official funeral. Finally, from us this morning, Secrets St. Lucia Resorts and Spa has addressed recent allegations that it has imposed restrictions preventing vendors from speaking to guests or operating on the beach. In a statement, the resort said, "We strictly follow the standards and regulations set by the National Conservation Authority and remain committed to policies that prioritize guest comfort and safety." The response follows public comments made by a young boat tour operator who voiced concerns about being blocked from interacting with resort guests.
Now, I have been almost all beaches of St. Lucia. I've been to La Toc for 6 months. I was Halcyon for 2 years. I was Grand for 6 months, Royalton, Windjammer, and none of these beaches is as, chaotic as here. And when it comes to the rules of the hotel, they try to limit us speaking to guests. If I approach a guest, yesterday I approached a guest and the police officer was very rude. He didn't want me to speak to the people until the people themselves had to say, "But we want to listen to him. We called him in, And then he was like, "Oh, you called him in?" He was surprised, Like I'm not licensed, and that's why we get a license from the government, you know, from NCA to do what we do.
The result also emphasized that since its opening, it has maintained strong relationships with local vendors and so far has not received any formal requests for meetings regarding the issue. That's the news. Thank you so much for watching and listening to another broadcast. My name is Timothy Polio. Please join us at noon for our next News Major. Good morning.
Thanks so much, News Desk. Of course, stick around. This is DBS This Morning. We'll be right back. Welcome back, DBS family. Now, we're here to talk about something we all love, food. But we're talking about food in a very special, very curated way, all right? The Breadfruit and Breadnut Festival. Now, when I hear that, that's very peculiar, eh? That's very specific. Eh? Right. So, sir, Mr. Charles, you need to tell us about that festival and what can we expect within that.
Okay, the Breadfruit and Breadnut Festival is actually a creation of the Anglican Church, Holy Trinity Anglican Church with St. Mary the Virgin. And that came about because of the needs where we saw we had to be looking at ways of food security. And the Anglican Church has a responsibility of ensuring that we take care of our community and so on. And it's part of our marks of mission. So we, as part of the Emancipation Committee, which I happen to be a member of, representing the ANH, Archaeological Historical Society, I realized that there could have been something that could have been done because of course the fact we know that the church played a role even in terms of slavery and so on, and of course we're trying to deal with reparation now and all those kind of things, and of course that happened before our own time, but the fact is that we now have to move on in terms of seeing how best we could adapt to the things that we have, and of course as we all know that the breadfruit was actually brought in into the islands and so on, of course starting in St. Vincent. And it has become a staple in our diet, it has become a staple in our meals and so on. And so we saw that there are creative ways of presenting the breadfruit because people just think it is only eating it with a torch of breadfruit with maybe a piece of chicken or whatever it is. But there are many byproducts that could be produced out of the breadfruit, and that is what we are aiming to do with all the exhibitors that we have. So what you will see, you'll have the breadfruit and the breadnut being presented in various ways. And in that way, because I'm sure you go around the island and you see a lot of the breadfruits and a lot of the products being just spoiled. But that is just because a lot of persons do not know. So it's a matter of education and ensuring that we are able to reduce on our import bill, food import bill, as we know it's in millions. And if we are able to use a lot of what we have, then that would help, of course, with our economy and so on, and also with our health. And that is key, because, for example, the breadfruit flour, it might be more expensive than the normal white flour, but when you look at it, the health benefits is much more. So all of those components are being presented at the Breadfruit and the Breadnut Festival. This year it is going to be one day alone, which is the Friday, the 1st of August, which happens to be Emancipation Day. It will be at the historical building. Of course, everybody knows it as the Anglican Annex, which is a building that was recently renovated about 4 years ago and put into use. So it is actually being used for various functions, various things. It is no longer a school where you just have classes, but it is actually a community building right now. And we are encouraging as many community groups and so on to make use of it, because that in itself, as I said, is a historical building over 100 and something years. The great Sir Arthur Lewis, our first Governor General, all those persons actually sat in those buildings, in that building as students. So we are very happy that that building has been restored and we could use it in many, many, many ways. And of course, what better way to utilize it but to have the Breadfruit Festival and the Breadnut Festival at that location.
When it comes to, because you mentioned about exhibitors, is it the case where persons reach out, or did you guys select your exhibitors handpicked?
Okay, that is a very interesting question, because this is the 4th year that we are having it, and I could tell you a number of exhibitors have reached out to us. Of course, this year it is under the celebrity chef of Chef Orlando, but there are many other chefs and many other entities that are going to be providing, as I said, various ways that the breadfruit could be presented, and the breadnut, whether it is through the jams, the lollies, the smoothies, whatever way it is, but everything on that day would be breadfruit and Breadnut and the byproducts from them. So we have people like Patrick Wine, we have people like Rosemary Lamontagne, we have persons like, of course I said Chef Orlando, we have the women's group from Babuno, the cluster of women, we have the vegan place. I mean, it is just fabulous, and we have the tea lady, Miss Popo, who does a number of things out of the Breadfruit. And all in all, there's also going to be a situation where you're going to actually see how the breadfruit leaf could be used in decorative ways. So it's something that, and even what we refer to as the pop-pot, the breadfruit pop-pot, these are things that could be utilized. You know, even the breadfruit skin could be used, you know, to make the chips and so on. And just as you have the what we call it, the Irish potato and so on, you could have the breadfruit chips also, and that in itself is even healthier than the Irish potato. And as I said, you see all the breadfruit just around the place. So if persons just come to the exhibition, the festival, and they themselves could see, okay, I don't like eating the breadfruit with what we call there's a torch, but look, I could use the breadfruit to make the jam or the smoothie or the lolly, whatever the case might be. So we are actually showing, and there's, as I said, a health component to it. So, and we are very happy and very pleased with all the persons who have reached out to us. We have reached out to some, those who have been there with us, but I could tell you this year, a number of persons have actually reached out to us, and I could actually check out at least 10 persons, 10 businesses and so on that have reached out to us. So it means that we are actually doing something good, and the mere fact that other people are talking about it and so on, and as I said, it is part of the Emancipation, National Emancipation Program, and we are happy that they have endorsed it once again to the committee, which is of course led by Junior Frederick and her team at CDF. We are very appreciative for them having us once again to present the Breadfruit and the Breadnut Festival as part of the Emancipation Program.
Yes, I'm sure everyone at home is now wondering one question.
The time is from 10 a.m., which is Friday coming, 10 a.m. We go up to 6 p.m. And I could tell you there will also, you bring your children along because there will be quizzes. And as I said, there's education. So children could actually win prizes from answering questions about the breadfruit and the breadnut. We're going to have the bouncing castle because we want the children to be able to come and enjoy themselves also. Of course, you have the breadfruit ice cream. I remember last year a lot of children, that was the first time that they ever ate the breadfruit ice cream. So, I mean, it's just going to be a fabulous day. We're going to have entertainment. A lot of artists will be passing around. We're going to have karaoke. We're trying to make the karaoke reflect the Breadfruit Festival and so on. So maybe you could sing songs about the breadfruit and the breadnut. And all in all, we are trying to encompass everything breadfruit and breadnut for that just one day this year, which is Friday, the 1st of August at the Anglican Church Annex. Everybody knows there is the building between the two schools, and it's right at the church there. We start at 10 and we end at 6.
Admission?
Admission, it is free.
Okay.
Free admission, you just come and you partake. There'll be drinks, there'll be food. Those things will not be free, but there's no entrance fee. Okay, but the prices are not going to be that exorbitant because what we are trying to do, as I say, is to encourage people to eat healthy and to use our products in different forms and fashion so that we don't have a lot of that going to waste.
Well, I mean, could have said it any better. Something for everyone. Of course, Emancipation Day, guys, you know where to be. Find your way to the Anglican Annex, the Breadfruit and Breadnut Festival. You don't want to miss this one. Thank you so much for being with us on DBS this morning.
And we appreciate you for having us. And once again, we will make ourselves always available. Thank you very much. On behalf of the Archdeacon and the PCC members and the entire Holy Trinity congregation with St. Mary's, we thank you once again for having us.
All right, thank you as well. Of course, take us this DBS this morning. We'll be right back. Welcome, DBS family. Of course, you know, once this guy is on screen, you know what we're here to talk about. Miss District High 2025. Treasure Axel is the man to tell us about everything Miss District High. We're 2 weeks away, right?
Yes, sir. We're 2 weeks away, St. Lucia.
Very close.
Yes,
so what's
indeed.
going on? What's the updates? What's happening?
Well, the girls are really preparing for Coronation Night, and I'm so impressed from the day of audition, March 1st, until now. The growth is tremendous. And I know that we have, for the first time, in a long time, a top 3 again. So it's only top 3 that will be doing the last interviews. So I've made it a little bit more competitive in that nature. So it'll be 4 segments full with all contestants, and then only the top 3 that was consistent that will make the final interview to be credible of becoming Miss District High 2025.
What's the feeling like amongst the girls as they're getting closer and closer to that big day?
Well, I asked some of them from a level of preparations, what ranking do they put themselves, and majority said 9 out of 10. So that alone answered the question.
Nice. Yeah. For you now, mentally, emotionally, because I mean, guys, and if you know Miss District I behind the scenes treasure does a lot, okay? Not just with everything in the logistics of the pageant, but with the girls especially, does a lot. I mean, they have their chaperones and their team, but he's not one of those who just exclude himself. He makes sure he's involved. So if all of that work and pressure, how are you feeling now with all of this?
Well, for the first time once again, St. Lucia, I feel a sense of relief because these young ladies, I think they carry themselves in a manner of preparation, and once you prepared, an opportunity meets each other, it's rewards I can never even explain, and I think once they put themselves out there for the public to showcase their talent, intelligence, and overall being, that you will actually say, wow, that's the first group of girls to really come and bring it, and I'm so fortunate that they chose Mrs. District High to compete for a coveted title.
And can we get any sneak peeks? I know there are a lot of surprises that happen on the night. Can we get any sneak peeks, any cuts out of the bag, or do we have to wait until the night? All right, and let's remind them as well as to the date, time, as well as so they can get tickets.
Definitely. So, St. Lucia, I'm just going to be very transparent with you. We will have our young men from St. Lucia participate and showcase their talent. And of course it will be judged, so we have 6 finalists showcasing their talent on that night. And personally, I'll be performing my latest single, Jump On It. And just come to visit the National Culture Center, August 16th, 7 p.m. Tickets are sold at every single MNC drugstore island-wide. So copy your tickets, because it's a ticketed event only. And once you see that the young ladies and gents present themselves, you will say, Miss District High is here to stay.
Excellent. Couldn't have said it any better myself. St. Lucia, you know where the place is to be. August 16th, correct?
Yes.
Okay, National Culture Center. Be there or be square. That's an old saying, but I brought it back anyways. All right. Of course, Treasure, thanks again for being here with us.
Thank you for always having me, DBS.
Because it's family at the end of the day. So of us will be right back to DBS this morning.
To rise, shine, and wine with SocaCize. Leading the wine, we have Serena, Vernell, and Shani. Let's get ready to sweat with SocaCize. It's time to flaunt with a bacchanal warm-up. Let's begin. I know you love this one. We're just vibing and feeling the music. Let's go. 4, 3, arms crossing, and fan. Fan. Again. Touch and over the head. Roll the hip. Roll. Switch sides. Wind down. 4, 4, 3, 2, up and 4, 3, 2. Take the arms. Again. Cross and take it over. Side, roll it.
My girl, you look very nice.
Switch.
Stick on you like some Chinese rice. Let me see.
We're winding down and Take it up. Let's go. Cross the arms. Hey. Hey. Left side, hip. Roll it. Right side. Let's wind down. And up. Let's work those arms. Woo. Fan it. Touch. Hey. Left side, roll it. Next side, and hip, roll it. Take it up with the arms. Fan it. Touch. Hey. Arms. And hips.
Let me tell you, 120 million degrees Celsius. These ladies, they make my head hot. Why you go down low? Hey, take no show. Neuro. Why is production big up yourself? WhatsApp, MR, Alpha, Neurons.
4, 3, 2, 1. That was this morning's session. We hope you are feeling sexy, sultry, and strong. Thank you for choosing to flaunt with SocaCize on This Morning on DBS.
Well, all good things must come to an end. And that includes this show, all right? But you know, tomorrow, same time, same place, you're going to catch us right here for DBS This Morning. Of course, go out, have an amazing Monday today. It's the start of the week, guys, but we're going to have an amazing week this week. I'm putting the energy out there for you guys, all right? Drink some water, be kind to everyone, and right here, same place, same time, tomorrow morning, DBS This Morning. Big up yourselves. Vision, I'm out.